In this video, I want to talk about Assistance API. Before I talk about that, let me explain my problem statement. So I want to create a line chart or a bar chart with certain values. So I went to my AI Studio and gave the model GPT-4 32K. Sorry, first I started with GPT-4 3.5 Turbo, and I gave it a prompt that I need a line chart, a line graph with certain x-axis values and y-axis values. What I got was a graph with some data. No, I got one graph, some graph, but it's not the line chart which I wanted. So I moved the model to GPT-432K and asked it to make the line chart again. And I this time GPT-4 did not make any graphs and simply said that it cannot do it and I should use Excel for that. Then I moved to Dolly and I thought I'll try it using the image model, but I got a graph, but it's not exactly what I wanted. Now I know that that no Python has libraries which are used to make, which are very useful in making graphs and plots. And how do I integrate that into my model or into my application, which also uses the models? So assistance is the way by which you can you can invoke custom instructions when working with the model. The way to use assistance is they are available firstly in the Azure OpenAI Studio or Azure AI Studio. They are available in few regions only. So I'm in Sweden region, and if the model is available, or sorry, if the assistance API is available in my region, I should see it in the Playground or AI Studio. It's in preview mode. So what you need to do is click on assistance, and once you click on assistance, you you click the model you want, you give it a name, and you give it instructions. You also enable code interpreter. You can also do function calling, which I'll briefly touch upon later. And that's how you create it. So I already have created one. This is graphs and charts. And what I'm doing here is I have the model I'll use is GPT-432K. I give the assistant a name and I tell it that you're an AI assistant who can create two-dimensional charts, and to use charts and graphs, you can use Python's matplot library. And I enabled code interpreter. I also have a function created which I will touch upon later. And if I now give this assistant the same instruction, it should automatically create a sandbox environment at behind and in the background. In that sandbox environment, in create code which will import matplotlib library, write the code to create graphs using the dataset I have provided, and give me the result. You can already see that happening. That code interpreter has imported matplot library and it has written some other code and it has given me a chart which I wanted. So that's the power of assistance, that when you want to create custom code, or you want to integrate custom instructions into your application, which also works with the models, then assistance give you an ability to do that. And the most powerful bit is that even though that I did not have to write any piece of code to get the line chart which I wanted. So that's assistance for you. I briefly touched upon get mean. So what this means, what function calling does is, imagine a scenario where based on the input, there are several possible. Based on the input, you want to decide in your code whether you should call function A, function B, or function C. And let's say if the user is giving you a prompt, then based on the prompt, the model should be able to tell you which function can solve that problem. So this is what function calling can do. When I give a prompt, the model can help me decide whether I need to call function A, function B, or function C. So like in this case, if I ask the model to give me the of uh, mean value of average number of hours TV was watched by the children. Now, in this case, the model will automatically detect the intent of I'm trying to find the mean value, and it would tell it that it will tell me back, or it will give me a response back, which would tell me that I should be calling the get mean function which I have provided with the values 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, which is the number of hours children watch TV. So imagine a situation where you have 3, 4, or 5 different options, and you want, and the customer and anybody is giving through natural language an instruction, and you want the model to be able to tell you back which function will work best, is the most suitable based on the intent of the model. So I could have given it add another instruction like let me see if I can do it here. uh, so there are some examples provided, so I can just use those, or maybe I just copy the one here. It's easier for me that ways. So if I add a function and say give me let's say rather than saying get mean, I can say get total, and I give it a description that get total or sum of all values from a list of numbers, and then the number list is an array of integers, and description is list of values, and I say sum or total of these values would be calculated. And that's how I have provided the outline or purpose of this function. If I now give the same instruction, I will get the same answer. I should still get mean as the intent, that the intention is to get the mean value. Where did that disappeared? Oh, I have to, I think, first save it here, which I have, and it's new session now. Okay, got it. I haven't given it values, it might not work. Let's see. Yeah, so I had, because it's a new session, I have to first give the instruction again. Let's say give me the line chart. And again, it's gonna create the code itself. And if I now say give me mean, let me just copy it from the top. So here my intention is to get the mean values. So it invokes or tells me that I should be calling the get mean function. And if I change it to get the or how, let me just change see if we can find the intent like this. How many hours was TV watched by all children. So here I'm trying to find the total sum of all values. Let's see if it gives me that I should call the get total function. I lost the, let me try again. I'm losing the prompt here. I don't know why. That's a bit strange. I'll come back to this, but if you try it yourself, you should see get total get total here, but I do not know why it's not working at the moment. Now, if you want to know more about assistance, there is a tutorial on learn.microsoft.com, and you can use that tutorial. And it's quite straightforward. It basically talks about the APIs available to you through which you can create the assistance and work with it. Now, it also discusses certain important concepts, like in a assistance, when you start a conversation, that conversation is called a thread, and then the messages, the communication which happens with the assistants, they are through messages, and then you have to run that assistant. It's quite straightforward to copy these notebook instructions and work on that. So I did that in my Fabric environment. I basically created a workspace, and in that workspace, Microsoft Workspace, so this is my Microsoft Workspace, and here I created a notebook. To do that, I basically just went to new and notebook, and then from there I just gave it the instructions. So to execute this notebook, I first installed the API modules for OpenAI, and once I executed that, I simply copy pasted all the instructions which are here. So I copied the my key and endpoint for my Azure OpenAI, gave it an instruction that this model, or sorry, to that this assistant creates visualizations, and yeah, I just after that just start copy pasted all the instructions. So here the assistant was created in this part using the create API, and then a thread was created to start a conversation. Then a message was created, then message was added in the list, and then the assistant was run. And then the only place I had to make a change was that this assistant creates a sine wave, and the image which was created did not have was not an RGBA type. So I had to make a conversion from RGBA to RGB, and then when by using the pillow library, when I showed the image or opened the image, I was able to see it. So you can follow this tutorial here to create an assistant. Then I also tried it using the assistant I created in this example. So let's see if this opens the notebook. Yep. So again, I installed the modules I needed from OpenAI and Pillow. Once that was done, rather than creating, this is my API key and endpoint, and rather than creating the assistant, in this case I just retrieved it because it was already created by me. And you will find the assistant ID here when you create the assistant. And once I retrieved it, I followed the same process of creating a thread, then creating messages, and then I gave the same instruction that I want a line chart. And once I ran the assistant, and I retrieved the image by again converting from RGBA to RGB, and I could see the line chart.